Now, which brings us to the first session of the day. It's going to be really an amazing panel discussion, which is about we are rapidly moving from searching to asking. The transformation of search marketing. All right. So we have our moderator, Vinay Bhartia, Director, MEA and West Asia, Semrush. May I please invite him on stage? Give him a big round of applause.
Thank you. Welcome.
And may I also request the panelists to join in? Or do you have a presentation first?
No, you can.
All right, okay.
I'm okay.
All right. The panelists are Aditya Das, Director, Growth and Omnichannel Marketing, Cipla. May I please invite him on stage?
Hi, welcome.
Deepesh Chhabra, Head, Asset and Corporate Banking Marketing, IndusInd Bank. Please give him a round of applause. Lerin, Zacharia, Marketing Director, Central Marketing, Yokohama. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Sarina, Menezes, SVP and Head, Marketing and Corporate Communication, Oberoi, Realty. Give her a big round of applause. And Siddharth, Shekhar, Director, Government and PSUs, BFSI, Fintech, Education and Auto, Google. And let the panel discussion begin. Thank you.
Hello. All right. You guys, mic working? Awesome. Thank you for the introduction. Saves half my readout. So yes, big question, search, visibility. It's not changing, it's not going, it's evolving. That's the first. But for 25 years, we've actually I lost mic. Yeah, it's back. Can you hear me? Awesome. For 25 years, we've typed fragments in a box and picked up from a list of 10 blue links, the traditional search. Today, more and more of us are asking full questions, conversations and context, and getting one answer back, no list, no choosing. That single change is actually quietly rewriting how brands get discovered, considered, and even chosen. So to unpack this, we have amazing market leaders here. I'm not going to introduce them again. We'll get into the sections. We have 3 themes. We'll try and cover as many as we can. So are we ready? Awesome. Theme 1, what actually changed and how fast? So Deepesh, I'll start with you. Your mandate at IndusInd Bank formally includes GEO and AEO, formally includes these titles. Most marketing charters in the room don't say that. What did you see in the data or in consumer behavior that made this worth writing as a job description rather than treating it as a side project?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. So Vinay, while you say most marketers don't formally mandate AEO, GEO yet, I doubt. I'm sure people in the room would understand how important that is. It's not a science. It's something which is backed by data. When I say that, what I mean is when I took up this role in my organization, there were a few studies that we did. In fact, few studies which we referred to. So there was a study at Capgemini 2025 report. It says 58% of the customers are already switched or have experienced their search through a AI interface than a traditional search. There was one more research done by a US organization which claimed for answers where AI summary is present, the clicks on the link, the blue links which Vinay was talking about, is only 8% compared to 15% when there is no AI summary. So the discovery of the brand is no longer happening on the website. The customer is asking questions. He's not looking for information. It's more about helping or asking, seeking support. So that is the kind of context that people are entering in the search box. And if your answer or if your brand is not mentioned, I think that is where all the marketers needs to take note of.
And action.
And action, of course, and action. Because as I said, the funnel today no longer starts from the website. The funnel has gone beyond the website and the top of the funnel maybe starts from your brand being mentioned or appeared in an AI response. So that is where the thing starts.
So interesting point. So Aditya, healthcare is where asking was always the natural instinct, because as humans or as customers, we never knew the answers, especially at odd hours like 2 a.m. But now they do, or at least we believe we do. What's changed in how patients are now arriving at your property, especially after done some research in LLMs? And what worries you about the answer they already received before they get to you?
Thanks. Good morning, everyone. It's actually a very valid question, because that is what any healthcare brand is facing nowadays. Earlier, people used to search for keywords on Google, and they used to get a list of websites based on their domain authority and the amount of content that they have on that particular keyword that people are searching. But now the first touch point has moved. So now more searches are happening on AI assistants and LLMs like ChatGPT, and people have moved from asking generic information related keywords, because the searches are now natural conversation based searches, and they are not seeking just generic information, because they are asking very pointed questions. You can type in very elaborate questions in the Google search box, for which the AI overview will start coming up. Or if you are typing in ChatGPT or Gemini, then you will give proper context to the question that you want answer for. So people are not just looking for generic information, rather they want decision making. So they want help in decision making. So questions like, do I need to still use an inhaler if I am feeling well? Or do I need to go to see a doctor if I am having persistent cough for more than 2 weeks? These are not generic information related queries, rather questions where people are seeking decisions, right? So the first touch point may have moved from Google to ChatGPTs or Geminis, but the answers are still not context based, or because the LLMs obviously do not have medical history.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they do not have medical history of the patient. There is no context to the search. So while the information is out there on the LLMs, but for healthcare brands, the most important thing is now to validate, confirm and contextualize that information, so that it is accurate to the person who is seeking that particular information or decision, because that is very contextual to that person's profile, medical history, demographics and other things.
Yeah, I'm gonna take something you said very interestingly of searching, or they're searching at the time of consideration, to Sarina, realtor and luxury marketer. A 10 crore home typically was researched over months. You would meet, you would profile, you would dine, wine, converse. But now when a buyer is now asking an assistant, who are the best luxury developers in Mumbai or my suburb, and gets 3 answers in a paragraph, what does it do to a category like yours, which is built on brochures, conversations, visits, and how has that changed?
Firstly, thanks Vinay, good morning, and
Morning.
thanks for having me, and lovely to see you after all these years. Let me start by saying welcome to my world of luxury. It's very different where we are concerned, but the principles of marketing and consumer behavior is the same.
Agree.
You first search once you have the intent to buy.
Yeah.
And when you search, you discover things that you had not even thought you were searching for.
Interesting.
These are the basic understandings of why consumers search. Now, I'm assuming that you're asking me about our home business, our residential business. We do have other businesses, which is commercial, hospitality and retail. Let's stick with residential. I think all of us in this room would write our life's biggest check when you buy a home. One of the biggest checks we would write when you buy a home, which means the first thing you would look for is, if you are not very familiar with which brand you should go with, you would ask a lot of people friends, family, people who can actually speak for the brand, word of mouth. And then if you are very sure which developer, which brand you would put your money down for, you would look at the brand's credibility. Because this is the biggest check you will write, or one of the biggest checks you will write, and you want to hand it to a brand with a strong, credible reputation. Absolutely. The other thing you look for is their reputation for delivery on time. The third, quality, because you want value for your money. And number 4, you want all the criteria to fall in place on the criteria that you have set for yourself. I would think you would not get any of these by just looking at a brochure or by just some interaction or through friends and family in the first instance.
It's actually helping. So it's a very interesting thing. To give a personal context on real estate, I had to move to Dubai 4 months ago for my current role. And as a tourist, many of us have been there and traveled there, but when you're moving, I actually wrote a long essay into one of the LLMs to help me understand better where I should stay, and that answer was unbelievable. It actually helped me decide where to stay without even picking up a call and visit there. So it is shaping. So I'm going to come to you, Lerin. I learned so much about tires in 5 minutes that we all assume, probably for me, with due respect to the most important thing, the most boring category of a car product, but the most important category because he said that's the one that actually touches the road, and that's the only car product that touches the road. You're selling into 120 countries where a fleet owner or a person is searching a very specific tire spec, often not in English, right? Because different languages. Is the shift moving faster or slower in B2B categories and even more in niche than in the consumer categories, and what's explaining that gap?
Good morning, everyone, and first of all, thanks Vinay for having me. In terms of what you said, yes, tire is the most important part because that's the part that connects your vehicle, be it a car, be it a tractor, be it a truck, with the ground, right? So especially when it comes to B2B and the segment that we are in, which we operate, we actually sell in the off-highway space. When I mean off-highway space, these are applications which need tires and they don't run on roads. So let me explain that. I'm talking about farming, mining, construction, lawn, garden and turf, segments like that where we've got applications. So the most common thing which anyone would know is a tractor. A tractor runs on the field or the farm. It also runs on the road. So you're very right, we sell today in more than 120 countries. And the shift that we see in B2B is today, it's not search, it's more on solutions.
Interesting.
So today, when anyone is searching, it's moved from, English is not the language that they search in. They search in their local language and they look for solutions today. And what they're looking for, I would say, is moved more from your typing in search. It's gone more to voice because voice is something which is picking up. And I'm sure even Siddharth will vouch for that.
We're waiting for him.
it is exploding, and that's where we are looking at. And what we drive for is essentially, going out and ensuring that not only our content, our context gives out solutions. Because today LLMs, they are looking for authority. They're looking for context where they can get sharp, defined answers. Where they're looking at synthesizing it across different source providers, if I say that. And they would like to go back and give a solution.
Exactly.
So today, I would say that it's no longer searching, it's solution engineering that we are catering to. And we are doing that, and more to, in B2B space, it moves more quicker because it's a very defined audience.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting perspective. search is replaced by solving or solutions. You're not looking to discover and find and then make a decision, but the answer is. So we ran a very interesting conversation yesterday with few folks saying, are you the answer? Which means when somebody is looking for a problem or a solution, are you part of the answer? And that's the important for marketers to be visible in the space of LLMs. So to come to Siddharth with Google, all of us use you, largest digital surface in both traditional search as well as AI-led search. You're sitting closest to all of us and all the demand signals that come either across BFSI, auto, education, government and beyond. Beyond the headline numbers that everybody's talking of, what's that most underrated change in how people are phrasing what they want, and how are your advertisers reacting with curiosity, with interest, with learning and so on and so forth?
Yeah, so I'd say I think all of them touched a little bit on what's changed a lot. And I'd like to start by saying I think this is the biggest transformation we've seen with search in the last 25 years. Over the last 18 months, today search is powered by our frontier AI models. And we have products which are giving answers directly within search. So we have AI mode, which is our answer to what people are looking for. Within search experience itself today, you don't have to specifically look for clickable links, you're looking for answers. The biggest, and you know, a lot of people have said this many times that how is search evolving? The evolutions led to search become more exciting in consumers' lives. Search had become a workhorse over the last 25 years where people would go and search for anything that they're looking for. But today people are looking for answers to everything in their lives on search.
Absolutely.
This has led to, over the last year, I think we are seeing the highest number of query volumes come into this year. And that's not the exciting part. The exciting part is the behavior that's driving it. And if I have to give you some stats, AI mode, which is just conversational queries, close to 1 billion people use it globally now.
Wow.
And that's within the search experience.
Yeah.
It's not the Gemini app that we have separately.
And it's still a small percentage of overall search, generally speaking.
Yeah, and what we are also seeing is the longer queries are growing at 3x the pace of shorter keyword-based queries. So that shows you the intent with which people are coming to search today. From a marketer's point of view, and I'm sure you heard all of them, it's a big mix of curiosity and excitement because the way consumers are searching are looking for answers. Confident answers is what I would say. And we're seeing this across categories, right? We work with BFSI clients, and if I have to give you one simple example, last year we've had massive growth in health insurance because of the GST rates dropping, and so insurance is a category we work very closely with, and a lot of that query for people who've come to search for the first time, looking for answers related to health insurance. One example I keep, and we saw this in one of the queries, somebody had actually searched for health insurance for my parents who live in Chennai, have pre-existing conditions, and have the best coverage in the Chennai area. These kind of queries didn't exist earlier, right? People would come to search and search for just health insurance plans.
And then search through.
Or best health insurance plans. So that's the shift that's happened. And we've seen like even marketers sort of fully lean into this in trying to tap into how do they become part of this conversation. And that's the most exciting bit.
Lovely. That actually is a cue for me to go to the theme 2, which is being the answer, not the result. And it's a huge difference of showing up versus being the answer. Ranking was something you could work on. In some fair way, some would say you could possibly hack, possibly at least structure it as a science. But being cited feels something that happens to you, right? So I'm going to come to you, Sarina, first now. And you're a brand custodian in a category where the words are the product. A machine will now paraphrase Oberoi's sentences that you didn't write, and possibly your team will not approve or could approve. How do you protect positioning when you no longer control the answer?
Yeah, very good question, Vinay. Actually, I'm just resonating what Siddharth said. There's a high degree of curiosity for a brand like ours.
Yes.
Because of who we are, because of our financial strength, because of our salient features that we are high on quality, design, and the way we do things. Hence, there's we see a very high exponential curiosity search for a brand like ours. I mean, I just got off our SEO, AEO, GEO report yesterday, and it was interesting to see what has happened in the last 1 month, because we made our foray into Gurgaon with 360 North, which is inspired by 360 West. And the amount of search for that brand and for our product launch in Gurgaon was astounding.
Unbelievable.
That just leads us to understand that what we put out there determines what people hear about us and listen about us, and hence those words are very important. It's very important to make sure that you're doing everything possible, because AI picks up everything that's out there. So what my CMD says at the investor call, what I say to the media, what I put out on Instagram, I have to be very, very careful with every word that I choose.
Yeah.
A small example, before we launched Gurgaon a month ago, I think everybody in the world knew what we were creating except us. So it was interesting to continuously do a search and see what people are actually saying about us.
Position that.
And then surprise them.
Interesting. Very
Thanks.
nice. Yeah. Lerin, you've sat on both sides, client and agency. When the answer is now synthesized rather than linked, does your own content really matter? And third-party signals like dealers, trade press, forums, many of which she nuanced upon also, reviews matter more. Where is that money moving? Where is that answer moving?
Vinay, a good one. So as I said, today AI gives you a very synthesized answer. And definitely the content that we as a manufacturer brand that we put out, it does matter. But at the same time, what your dealer, your third-party people, means your trade journals, or even the reviews, they matter more, because especially when it's a review, the authenticity, the score that gets attributed to it is much more. So we actually look at getting more creators to try our products, to give reviews, because that gets picked up more.
Absolutely.
So that's what we look at. And just to give you an example, we've actually, I would say we've partnered with creators across Europe and US. And when I say partnered with them, these are actual farmers. And these are the ones who test the product, run it on their farms, and they give out live reviews.
And that gets picked up.
That gets picked up, and that's got a much higher authority score.
Absolutely. Aditya, I think, nuanced upon trust and authority, which is important, and nothing better than a customer's voice to lead that, right?
Exactly.
Very interesting. So Aditya, back to you for this. This is SEO with new inputs. Some call it SEO++, and SEO is not dead. Again, a conversation that we had yesterday, SEO is claimed to have been dead 6 times in 20 years. No, it's not dead. It's not going away. But this is different, or it's generally some different discipline on top of that. So more usefully, what have you done differently, or what have you stopped doing differently in the last 12 months to address this rise of being the answer?
So the fundamental shift that has taken place is search engines used to focus more on discoverability, like impressions. And earlier we used to see on tools like Google Search Console, there is a direct correlation between impressions and clicks.
Yeah.
That is not the case now, because more searches that are happening are 0-click searches.
Absolutely.
Because the answer you are getting is directly, you are getting it on the search engine result pages or the LLM. So people are not visiting your website. In case of GEO, the focus is more on citations. So now the question that every brand and especially healthcare brands need to solve for is what makes my brand authoritative or trustworthy enough for LLMs to feature or cite me in their answers.
Yeah.
Right. So, so content has become all the more important. One major thing that we have done in the past 1 to 2 years is that we have reduced the amount of content and focusing more on creating authority-based content. And so every content that we put out there is strictly as per the EE80 framework of Google. Every content is clinician vetted content. The content has the profile of the author, which in our case is a doctor or any authoritative person in the healthcare domain. The messaging needs to be consistent across all digital platforms. So every content that we put out on our website, app, social media handles, on forums, on influencer platforms, the messaging needs to be consistent because LLM picks up from everything that is there on the internet.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's a very interesting point which goes to Deepesh, compliance or content. And you have pharma and banking, probably the most regulated sectors in the country. In banking, the wrong answer is not a lost lead. That's least of your problems then. It's a compliance problem, right? When an assistant explains your credit card terms in absolutely the wrong way, or an insurance product, and gets the detail wrong, who owns that responsibility? And how do you even find out that it's getting cited wrongly?
Yeah. See, I think this is where BFSI gets differentiated from other categories.
Yeah.
In other categories, a wrong recommendation or a wrong information only leads to a bad customer experience.
Yeah.
But in BFSI, anything which you put it out or customer discovers is factually wrong, is a compliance issue, is a trust erosion which has which the team has worked over the years, and it can be financial impact. So there are a lot of things which come along with it. Let's take a simple example. If I search whether this credit card gives me access to lounge or not,
Yeah.
AI may simply say yes, it gives, but there are multiple nuances to it in terms of it gives only upon certain spends, it gives at a capped frequency, it gives on domestic lounges but not on international lounges. The customer may, if the AI response is not giving those details, the customer will not remember which platform generated the answer.
Yeah.
But the customer will definitely remember this is the brand,
Yeah.
which didn't fulfill what's supposed to be my entitlement.
Yeah.
And that is where the trust erosion starts to happen. Now to your question, who owns it? See, legally it is simple. If the response is generated by a direct channel of the brand, then the ownership and the accountability is directly on the brand. However, if the response is being generated on a third party, like an AI interface, while legally the brand is not liable, but I think from a customer trust perspective, it is ultimately the brand who has to be taking the ownership.
Yeah.
Now, how do we do that? I think what he was referring to, we have to ensure the content that we have is updated, it's structured well, there is a single source of truth where the AI crawlers can fetch the content from. So the onus is again goes back to the
Brand.
team, the
Yeah,
brand,
yeah,
to
absolutely.
keep everything updated, to keep everything in check.
So true. So Siddharth, I'm coming always last to you because being the digital surface that you are, you get a preview of what people are thinking before I come back to you as that question. So for CMOs or marketers either sitting here and in the audience watching, the practical question always is, where does paid fit when answers are arriving pre-packaged? Tires or real estate or even in banking products. And what should they change now and what should they wait out for, if any?
I'd say, and thanks for the question, I think people touched on how information comes
Exactly.
on these new channels. I'd say the advice is threefold, but I'll come to that. I think most of the people who are coming to searching and looking for information, they're not really looking for information. They're looking for ways to build confidence
Yeah.
for these high intent categories. And how do we give that confidence is something that all marketers should sort of look at. Obviously, some of the answers here have mentioned that you can structure your information well, keep it more updated. But there are other ways, and from a paid point of view, right? How do you boost that? My advice would be threefold. Today, when a customer clicks out from an answer,
Yep.
they're far more confident. So I would say these are confident clicks. So looking at metrics in a traditional way has changed. And I'd say, for example, the three-step framework that I had in mind was, first is lean into the AI products. We have AI Max, because what it does is it captures the real intent of the user, even if it's a very wide, broad query. So the commercial intent's captured through that,
Absolutely.
which your regular campaigns might not capture. The other thing that it really leans into is, because India is such a diverse country, it really leans into the vernacular input of the consumer that they're looking at. So one, lean into the AI products like AI Max. Second, connect your data. A lot of how do you supercharge some of your paid campaigns is, right? Connect the data, feed that campaign, feed the automation with the right customer data, figure out what your right cohorts are, and the AI will do that discovery. AI will sort of match that for you. And third is, like I said, I think the confident clicks need to be measured slightly differently. What we've seen is customers who've moved from regular CPCs or cost of a click to more lifetime value led metrics have seen a huge change. And to that matter, like, the CMO should not just look at their role as a marketer, but as a business leader going forward, because they're really driving profit and growth through the new way people are looking for information.
That is so true. I'll give an example without naming. I was sitting with a large insurance company, 20% drop in organic traffic, but the top line and bottom line is still scaling. So the panic is not the drop in traffic, to your point. It's coming from different sources, and it's not one source anymore. And now it's looking at it collectively and not looking at one matrix as a single view as a marketer.
Yeah, no, I'll add to that. What we've also seen is people who've adopted AI tools, AI products, AI ad products. We've seen, and this is a broad level study that we did, have seen a 27% improve in return on ad spend. And these are real numbers, these are real clients, and I can mention a few, like for example, Policy Bazaar, who's one of the market leaders in their category as well, has adopted AI Max for their sales. They've seen a 28% increase in sales post-adoption of AI Max. And this is sales numbers. I'm not talking ad spends or CPCs.
Outcome.
Their actual outcome that they've seen improvement in.
Absolutely. So we have time, we have about 4 minutes. I'll go to section 3, give you guys about 40-45 seconds to answer that, otherwise I'll get pulled over. What breaks measurement, trust, teams? Because all of these metrics are changing from the way we used to. So I'll come to you first, Siddharth, quickly. You've led large teams through several transitions. What are you hiring for today, or what marketers are hiring today that wasn't on the job description 2 years ago?
Yeah, so we get this question a lot because, being from Google, people ask us that what are others doing? So one of the things is that people ask us is how is everyone looking at transforming their marketing org?
Yeah.
And this is something that's in the last 18 months has changed quite a lot, because 18 months prior, customers were still asking, is AI a thing? Today, they are more real, they are more excited, they're more leaned in to understand what should we do, how do we sort of improve or evolve our organizational structure. And to that, most of our conversation and answers today, it's like here and now we've seen both process and people related structure changes. And not just, you change your structure and that should lead to better results. It's the processes as well. How are you looking at creative development? How are you looking at creative development and deployment?
Absolutely.
How are you looking at optimizing your team's efforts? And this is something that came up in a conversation with one of the leading CMOs for one of the largest conglomerates in India. and they left me a number is marketing teams have moved from 80% execution to 20% execution and 80% thinking.
Because now it's collaborative,
because of the automation that's sort of powering through their decisions, right from thinking to delivering. And that's the shift, I would say, from an organizational point of view.
So, does an ultra high net individual buyer trust a machine's shortlist answer? And as AI will start filtering brands, must pass, or does it get ignored at the very top of the mark?
No, it's definitely search plays a very big role, especially because of the whole transformation that search marketing is going through. And I love the 80-20 principle, yes. Marketers have to think more now, think for the future, anticipate the change, so that we're not running around like headless chicken when change hits us. And the 20% will happen very easily. So definitely, whether it's the ultra luxury segment or the FMCG segment or the luxury segment, search is very important. And I would just think that the CMO's job has become a lot more tougher now.
It's actually valued also more now. I mean, with due respect, the CMO is getting valued a lot more now.
Because you have to understand what is the kind of rapid change that's happening and get onto that bandwagon.
Absolutely. Lerin, you run a marketing as a P&L lever now. And over the next 18 months, what's that one bet? And what are you defunding to pay for it? Like, where's that money in your pocket coming from?
So when over the next 18 or 24 months, the way we look at the shift that's happening is primarily we will go more into account-based revenue generation. We would not keep it broad-based. What we would look at defuncting is more in terms of your money in unsolicited searches, in more of display. We would rather go focused. We would rather go and partner with the OEMs, with our
collaborations.
I would say the tier 1 distributors, and also look at partnering with them, because that helps us in the long run.
Absolutely.
I would look at partnering more with my distributors. Because at the end, even though AI would come in, AI would be just in terms of giving you solutions and telling you the top of the funnel. But it's my distributor or dealer who's got the trust factor and who's basically in a more position to close the deal. And so that's where the money would be.
Interesting. Well, time's up, but we got finished 2 questions quickly. Aditya, if the click disappears, what goes on the broad slide? The leading indicator using today, not the one you wish for, now is expired.
I'll try to keep it brief. So now the North Star metric that we look at is meaningful patient outcomes. Because more than traffic, more than clicks, more than leads through paid marketing campaigns, what is more important as a healthcare brand is what difference are we able to make in the lives and the healthcare outcomes of patients who are suffering from chronic ailments. So more than traffic, things like, if you have to look at metrics like how many patients have booked a doctor consultation, or how many have opted for a condition management program, or opted for a therapy because of the information that they have searched or what they were looking on our website, or the content that we are putting out on our platforms or the social channels. The most important thing is whether we as a healthcare brand have been able to make a meaningful change in the lives of people.
Interesting. So Deepesh, last question. You build loyalty engines where you've owned, or all loyalty engines own the customer relationship directly. Is the smartest hedge now against losing that search visibility simply to not depend on search, but own the app, the loyalty program, the direct relation, or still depend on something?
See, I think both are solving 2 different problems, search versus loyalty. Search is where your brand gets discovered. It's used for new customer acquisition. It's used for increasing the leads, the funnel. And loyalty on the other hand is a retention tool. It gives your customer a reason to come to you back and back again if he finds value. So it's simple. For the discovery or the new acquisition, it's AI, and for loyalty, the next 100 interactions will depend on how beautifully you have crafted your loyalty ecosystem and what's the value that you offer to the customer.
Thank you. So I think, thank you panelists, we're at time. I think to summarize this, we all will agree, search is evolving, SEO is not dead, the surface is expanding, it's no longer your own digital assets, but it's also what your customer, your experiences, your partners, your collaborators, and the larger ecosystem speaks, thinks, and writes about your brand. So I think the summary would be, look at it 360, your jobs have only got harder, but that's the opportunity to actually be visible or be the answer in the ever changing space of LLMs or AI search. Thank you so much.